What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another fantastic Tuesday. Am I muted? I don't know if I am. Welcome to another fantastic Tuesday here on the Exploding Dice channel. We're listening to some Optimus Rhyme as they sing our theme song. Thank you so much, Bam Bam Sam, for joining us. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the madness. We are back on another Tuesday here with... We can hear you. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad. These new headphones are weird because I'm used to being able to hear myself, and they kind of cancel a lot of noise. Ooh, and so let's it's weird. I gotta take one off my ear. Welcome to Fuzzy Dice, the Dungeon Master Show here on Exploding Dice channel. I am happy to be here, and of course I have a brand new, an awesome friend with me on this side. Cameras always get flipped. How's it going? I'm fantastic. I just got off work, and now I am here to talk about dungeon mastering, which is my favorite thing to do. So before, we have an awesome show for you guys lined up, but before we do, of course, we always have some announcements to get through. Thank you, Negiyama, for joining. Welcome to the madness, my friend. And may Dice Thulu embrace you. Also, I should probably also... Really? Huh. Oh, this is since last time. Okay. Yeah, so thank you, also, thank you, Eccentric, thank you, AC Wrath, Wraith, thank you, Henfu, thank you, Harglow, and Harpy Harpist for joining. Welcome to the madness, all of you. And I hope you enjoy your stay in Dice Thulu's domain. So let's go through some announcements real quick, because I want to get through these quick so we can get on to what you guys want, which is the good Dungeon Master stuff. If you missed it last week, we did a really awesome charity D&D game. Last week we were not playing our normal campaign. We were not playing our normal D&D campaign, but we were playing a game called We Be Goblins, where all of my players took on the role of crazy goblin characters, and we raised a total of almost $200 in this over the course of the session for the World Builders charity, which we gladly sent along to them. And as you know, Pat Rothfuss was nice enough to double all that money. So lots of good stuff happening for charity. Thank you everyone who came out for that. It was such a fun game, and I am looking forward to doing more of that ridiculousness in the future. Also, if you don't know, every week on our we're just starting it off for the new year, but we had one episode already. Every week on our normal Sunday D&D game, we have a fan art contest where you can win a brand new set of awesome theme dice from Q Workshop. They've sent me a whole bunch of dice to give away, and I can't wait to get them in your hands. So all it takes is the best piece of fan art that we receive over the week, and we'll give away one of those brand new fantastic sets every week. The only other announcement I have is that you guys should, if you have not already, you should keep your eyes peeled on Twitter. You can just see the Twitter name is down below, because there will be all kinds of stuff happening in the new year. I'll make an official post about it, but not only are new shows coming to the channel, but also there's going to be some kind of internet blog stuff, whatever that is. I don't really know what a blog is per se, but I hear it will have reviews and recommendations and all kinds of community content. It's lots of cool stuff coming in the future. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That's really all my announcements. But thank you, Final Fantasy IX Master and Griff Doctor, for following. Welcome to the madness, my friend. Also, Final Fantasy IX is ironically my favorite Final Fantasy, so you win points for that. Yes, it's objectively the best one. Well then, well, you were in good company here. So let's get out of announcement mode and get into having a lot of fun and hanging out mode as I turn the camera, even though it was already there, to Bronze Girl, who is my guest today. Why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about yourself, because I've been watching. You know, I caught some of your streams, but I've been enamored with your DM work recently. No, you're I got you. Is she muted? Oh, that might be me. Hold on, wait. Done. Fixed. She's not muted. No, I had lowered the volume of Zoom, and don't worry about it. It's fixed. We're good. It never happened. Yeah. My question was, could you please tell me your life story from the moment of inception up till now? They say it's... Hold on. People are telling me it's still not fixed? It should be fixed. No... What? Oh lord. Hold on. People are telling me it's not fixed. I'm gonna try and figure this out. No sound. Oh god. Oh god, what do I do? Well, let's put the music back on, because that's necessary. Oh god, where's Zoom here? She is muted. That's what I hear. Okay. What about now? Tell me about it now. She's at like 1% volume. I don't know what that... I don't know why that would be. No music either. I think OBS just had a driver failure on me. Hold on. Let's re-intellite. Alright, try now. Hold on. Cause I got audio. I'm so confused by this. Guys, really low. Oh god. So many people and I fucking hate tech issues. Hold on, I'm trying to figure this out. I've never had this happen before. No. No. Oh god. Okay, so the audio should be coming through there. Okay, try now. You guys gotta keep giving me feedback, because seriously, I don't know what's going on here. Hey Arv, they're saying no. Oh shit. Be muted in Skype. She's not. We're not in Skype. Man, this is weird. Settings. Maybe I'm gonna try and send it to a different speaker. Alright, try now. Hello? Is it working? Yeah, they're saying OBS issue is most likely, but we'll very quiet. Nope. Can you... I don't know. Hold on. I got you perfectly. All right, hold on. We're trying this now. I routed the audio to a different channel. So you guys tell me if this is good, because I don't want it to be like this all night. Oh.
Yeah. Test.
I'm just gonna sit here and dance.
Well, I don't think they're getting music either.
Well, it says OBS says they are. So.
Yay, it's fixed.
Oh, I'm good. Yay. Okay,
Yes.
so we're gonna pretend that the last 10 minutes not happened. Fresh start. We're wiping the slate clean. Here at Exploding Dice, we are only the most professional. You guys know this. All right. So for those of you who at home who are just tuning in, our lovely bronze girl over here was telling us her entire life story, about how she became a Red Lantern.
Yeah,
That was the part I caught.
Yep. I became a Red Lantern. I got the ring while still in the womb, and I've been spewing napalm and hate across the galaxy ever since. Because you asked me for my life story.
Yeah.
So,
no, there are details of that I don't want to imagine.
Yeah. It's pretty dark. There's pictures that even I've blocked out.
So you're born into the world, rage, hate, all that. How do you get from there to becoming a DM?
Well, I first discovered D&D through an ex, and I was really excited when I kind of figured out what the concept was, and then it immediately turned into sadness because I remember buying the book of Vile Darkness. I think that's what it was called. Yep. And I made a cancer mage. And I was super excited for it. And then all of a sudden, I show up to the first D&D session, and him and his asshole friends killed me right out of the gate. I guess I was evil, and I guess they were lawful good. And that was my first introduction to D&D. And I hated it because I was like, wow, that was awful. And I had painted my miniature, and I was so excited, and they kind of ruined it for me. And then years later, I started working at a magic shop and a board game shop, and there was a group there that played D&D, and a lot of the staff there played D&D, and I got back into it. And that's when I started to get interested in dungeon mastering in general. And yeah.
I was muted before, but I made a comment about the Book of Vile Darkness, which I believe I still have somewhere. That was a weird time in 3.5.
Yeah, it was.
Awesome. And then I guess somehow you went from there to just sort of, hanging out with some of the coolest people in the hobby.
Yeah. I got to play with people that had social skills and decided not to kill the new player first session. And then I got a really awesome love for the game, but it took time, We know your alignment will totes arbitrarily kill you over. Yeah, and I didn't understand alignment. I just kind of saw that this class had these little playgrats as minions and stuff like this, and I was really angsty at the time, which the Book of Wild Darkness really
perfect. No, absolutely perfect for it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, sweet, this is awesome, and I'm gonna be one of these, and oh, look how angsty and dark I am. And then they killed me, and but yeah, I'm happy that I got to have my reintroduction to it years later with some really cool people that I worked with, and then I actually had fun, and yeah.
That gives me flashbacks of this time I joined this dude's game, and I wanted to make a blackguard, basically an anti-paladin, and I did, and I had made because I wanted to take it was a really weird build. I wanted to take this deity for a specific power that I got, And so I crafted this backstory. Like he was a real character. Like he had a real reason for losing his paladin powers and like going with an evil deity who promised some revenge and stuff like that. And then I get into the first session and the DM was like, "Okay, so the party's passing by a graveyard and you're just hanging out there." And I'm like, "Really, guy? That's the best you could do for an evil character? Is just he hangs out in graveyards? No, why not? Sure, let's
That's
roll with it."
amazing writing.
Oh, it was not a very. It didn't last long, but
You may as well say like you sit in graveyards being evil at that point to add that little bit to it.
yeah, no, it was. It was. I don't know. Like I have a love for like complex characters. Like even one of my and people in chat were talking about like the whole alignment thing. Like I have a love for people who actually sort of understand the alignment chart in a way that isn't like anything that's evil needs to die because it's our enemy, because I find there's so much interesting nuance in there.
Yeah, no, there is. And I think that for those, when people ask me about this, I always direct them towards games like Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age. And I tell them to look at how those characters interact with each other and how alignment can actually lead to some really good, some of the best character dialogue comes from alignment based dialogue, like differences in morality.
Yeah.
And we kind of figured that out, like with my character, because I played basically a chaotic neutral character on a comic book based RPG show called Vanquished on Hyper RPG. And she was always like super polarizing because there were times that the audience was just so frustrated by me. But I think some of the best like morality based dialogues and some of the best inner character dialogues came from interacting with my character with like these like lawful good characters, because she just like kind of turned the mirror on them a lot, and a lot of her rationale kind of even resonated with them, and it made them wonder if they're actually lawful good. So you can actually have some pretty good discussions based around it, but I don't think it's a good reason to kill somebody in session 1.
No, that's obviously like that's as everyone in chat like pointed out, that's just smacks of a bunch of people who don't like, I don't know, like why would you invite someone if that's what you're gonna do? Like, did the DM like take the character like, hey guys, this is the character sheet that she's bringing in, like, tell me how much you don't like it.
Yeah, basically. It's just based off of action. Sometimes you may have to like stop a character and therefore end up killing them.
Yeah.
But I think that is like few and far between.
I love the thing that's been interesting to me is I forget when I started doing it, but I always had I found that people ran into a lot of problems with this sort of D&D alignment chart, and the reason they did was sort of because it uses the word good and evil, but in a mechanical sense, like it's like good with a capital G and evil with a capital E. They're not like the English word good and evil. There's sort of a separation there. Like one is a game definition and the other is just a word. And the people kind of have trouble separating that. So I said it's always made more sense to me if you think of like good and evil as selfless and selfish in D&D. Like like an evil character doesn't necessarily have to commit evil acts. He just has to serve his own good, like his own personal gain before or at the expense of other people.
Exactly. Yeah, I even love roguish type stuff all in the neutral category too. Those are awesome as well.
Yeah, it's so like, again, I have a lot of experience with this. My Friday party is that I've been DMing for a long time. They're playing a normal D&D campaign, but they're very much not like hero types. Like they're all very willing. Like one of them is just straight up willing to murder people, to get his way. Like it doesn't matter who they are, and it's really interesting because they're in a city that is not necessarily like a good city. So it's really interesting to sort of see how kind of they build, like where they make. I love seeing, especially when you have a character that is kind of on that line. I love to see where they make their moral stands, like what, where their morality kind of like what they're willing to commit, like what kind of atrocities or acts they're willing to commit, but also what specific good things are really important to them. That's the most interesting to me, because like what if you like an evil character who will like he'll just like punch out any thug or anyone in an alley to get information, but he really likes protecting children.
Yeah, yeah. I know I love that stuff too. I love groups or like campaigns that are based on a group that isn't inherently like your typical knights of good or whatever you want to call that, like sort of stereotype. But I feel like a lot of, especially on Twitch, a lot of the campaigns do fall into that trap of like, oh, you meet at a tavern and you decide to go do good deeds together. And I kind of like seeing campaigns where people have a different interest in that they're not just doing good deeds for the sake of doing good deeds, because I feel like there you can make a more interesting campaign that way.
When you're, I guess, as a DM, when you're sort of starting to write a new campaign, do you like do you make it a point or go out of your way to sort of kind of brainstorm ways, like plot hooks and stuff that you can to start off on that isn't sort of that very traditional, like you're just a guy who wants to be an adventurer and now you go and do the thing, like do you play with sort of ways to involve people in the world that doesn't kind of lead them to that conclusion?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So for me, like I don't start writing a campaign until I hear what all of the players' characters are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a weird, sort of backward way of doing it. But to me, it's more important to have the players playing characters that they really want to play in a setting and then build the setting around that or modify the setting around that. And mostly because I have had, like, even campaigns that were well written, I had poor experiences in them when I found that I had to build my character to fit in that setting. So, like, I've played settings where they're like, oh, magic doesn't exist in this setting, or this and this doesn't happen in this setting. And sometimes that's good because it forces you to be like, okay, well, what if my character is an outlaw practicing magic and this and that? And so she's more of like a heretic or something like that. And you can build that into that world. But especially with hyper RPG, with shows that are to be broadcast for entertainment, they're a lot more different than
Mm-hmm.
shows that you're putting on for people, you know, for just play around a table, to play around the kitchen table. And so it has to be about the characters and it has to be about character moments. So I won't start writing the campaign until I have each and every character like sort of description, and then the first thing I do is decide how they're going to interact with each other, what's going to bring them together, what their individual motivations are, and where I want them to go or where I want to lead them by the end of the campaign.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, I agree on a lot of things, and especially the thing about streaming, because I don't know how long you've sort of been DMing on Twitch. I know for me it's been a little under a year now, and it was sort of such a shock to the system as to like the way I was used to doing things, especially the way I was used to writing campaigns, because well, there's so many constraints, and you know you have to worry about keeping more than just the players engaged. But yeah, you're right. Is like that's sort of why I've kind of I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I go to like whenever I like to sit down and talk with my players about the characters they want to build, mostly because I want to ask a lot of questions that they probably have never considered. Um, but also because I want to get a sense, and I want to sort of work out how we're gonna sort of fit this character into the world, and like what we can kind of construct around the character. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you were raised in a monastery, well, let's talk about that. Let's kind of find out how we can, because I don't like backstory stuff that just kind of, if it's just gonna fade into the background and never really matter, there's almost no point in sort of bringing it up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree
Uh,
completely. But it is nice to have something there to pull back on. And so it's almost fun to put characters on the spot and have them interact with their parents and this and that, and seeing how they react. We're like, oh, you come across this and you realize like it's your father's caravan. The way that player reacts is going to immediately tell you what kind of person their parent is, and if that's going to
yeah.
be a good thing or a bad thing that he's interacting with them. And that can be really fun. Um, but yeah, I feel like with DMs, something that they forget, not to be negative, I shouldn't be talking about what DMs shouldn't do, but I think something that they forget is that you can't write a story and expect the players to kind of understand that this is a story and we need to play in it, and you need to make it about the players, because I feel like that is where the campaigns I've been a part of, that's where a lot of them go wrong, is the DM has an idea of, this is my story, this is what I want to tell, and the players, we don't know that, we're not psychics, so we're doing our own little thing, and the dungeon master can often sometimes get defeated or frustrated because we're not going along the path that he wanted us to. And that kind of happened with Vanquished. A lot of the players were kind of anti-heroes at the beginning, and they didn't have this real hero's journey going on. They killed people and this and that, and they were supposed to be superheroes, and it's actually quite amusing. And sometimes Zach would get frustrated with us because he had a direction he wanted to take the show, and the players, like, we kind of were having fun with it and just making it organic. So one thing I've realized is, like, when, especially with the new campaign I'm starting next year, is you have to make it about the players, and you have to be flexible. Like, I haven't written anything ahead of the first 20 minutes of the first episode, because I know that things are going to change. I know that in your brain you have a perfect setup. Like, okay, they're going to go to the village, they're going to go to the tavern, they're going to ask the innkeeper for a drink, and then they're going to hear this tale and this, but that'll never happen, because they'll go to the village, they won't go to the tavern, they're going to go someplace else first, and then they're never going to go to the tavern, and you're sitting here like, well, I needed you to do this and this and this, and those are the pitfalls of, like, new GMs, and all of that needs to stop, and you just need to go with what the players are doing and build your story around them. You can definitely have, like, bones of what you want to happen or major tenets, but the in-between is just gravy.
See, and I actually wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I've been, I was going back and was writing a new campaign for a channel. I'm going to be hosting a game on a channel and, that I do stuff on, and it's, basically I'm taking, like, a long epic sort of plot line and sort of condensing it down, like boiling it down to its absolute most important elements, so I could get it to run in, I don't know, maybe 16 sessions total, because that's basically the time frame that I have. And I've done that a few times with shorter, like with adventures, and it's been an interesting exercise. But what I find is the thing that I get sort of taxed on the most is my ability to kind of improv connections, because what tends to happen is when you're doing this, especially very quickly, you end up with, like, dots, like, these are the major plot points, and everything in between is kind of very fuzzy. So the players will kind of start drifting away from one plot hook, towards the next one, but it's just like an empty sea. Like, you have to find a way to kind of help them navigate that, and that's really been the thing that's been sort of challenged most, is, like, or specifically my ability to improv things that sound like they were already planned, but are absolutely not. Based on where they choose to focus their attention. So I wanted to say, like, because you said you only plan, like, the first 20 minutes, like, are you confident in your ability to sort of, like, improv the rest completely based on what happens, or do you generally have ideas of what you want to try and do?
I'm a little bit unique in that sense, I think. I don't expect other DMs to be that way, but for me, I'm incredibly flexible. So I'm one of those people, and again, I think it's because one of the first campaigns I was ever in, I felt like the DM kind of had, like, a rough plan for us, and every session we kind of knew he had, like, this big story planned, and we wanted to follow it. We were actually a really good group, because sometimes groups are assholes and they don't want to do what you want them to do just because they don't want to. We were a really good group, but there were times, because in your head you set it out and it's clear as day, but there's so many times your players will sit there and be like, where does he want us to go? And you're kind of all side-eyeing each other, like, what are we supposed, or you're in a dungeon, he gives you a puzzle and you're like, what are we supposed to do here?
I think the thing that I've run into the most is, especially, like, when you sit down, you're like, okay, I'm going to design a dungeon for my players to go through, and it's very simple. It's like room, each room has a clue or something, like a piece of information, and when they've, if they progress through it, by the end of it, they will know everything they need to know, and, the next part is set up and it's not. But then like that you forget that the way players play through things isn't the way that you sort of frame it in your head. Like they start, they stop, they get sidetracked, they forget things like. And so by the end of the dungeon, they'll be picking up a thing. They may have missed something in another room, and now they got to go backtrack. And it's like, they never take it the way that you intend, which is why I spend so much time sort of I tend to lay things out very very simply and then just kind of rearrange them as the players go.
Yeah, yeah, because that's kind of what you have to do. And so for me, I improv a lot of it, but what I found to bring players on back on the right track is really good NPCs.
Hmm.
Introducing the right NPCs can sometimes get them back on track or give them the nudge that they need, or just scrapping it. I've done that. I've designed whole dungeons that I wanted people to get through, and realizing that it was taking too long or that it wasn't working, like they just weren't understanding how to deal with this certain type of mob that they
Hmm.
need to kill, and they're dying. No one wants their party to die. I think if you're going for a TPK, you're a bad GM. But when you realize like, okay, they're in trouble, how do I get them out of here, how do I get them moving, like, because there's times where you're like, okay, clearly you're supposed to run here and instead you're fighting like this
Yeah.
army, you need to run. I'll introduce environment aspects that just make it very clear, like, okay, the ceiling starts caving in, there's rocks falling down, make an agility check, make another one, and it starts to sink in, like, okay, we need to go, we can't stay here any longer. And forcing the players along is a really good tool, but then also just having NPCs that force them to move, because your players will